everyone. Thank you for joining us for the EBI Beginning of Entrepreneurship seminar series. Today, we are going to be talking about key considerations when starting your own company. And with us, we have Rhonda Shrader, the Executive Director of the Berkeley-Haas Entrepreneurship Program at the Haas School of Business at UC Berkeley, and Executive Director for the Bay Area node of the National Science Foundation's Innovation Corp, short-term NSFI Corp. Welcome, Rhonda.
Thanks, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, exactly, all those long names. Yes, and then so can you tell us a little bit about what you do as the Executive Director of these two programs, and what are these two programs about?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, I try to provide training opportunities to help folks explore their ideas to see if there's commercial potential. It's really, we teach lean startup at both the entrepreneurship program and in I-Corps. And lean startup is essentially applying the scientific method to business ideas to validate or invalidate them for commercialization potential. So I try to do as much training as possible, try to do some programs around helping student teams and recent alums get funded. Yeah.
Okay, that's such a great program. So we do also know that you are co-faculty of the Launch Accelerator and the Lean Transfer course. And can you tell us a little bit about these programs also?
Yeah, I love both of those. So our early stage classes and programs like I-Corps. I-Corps is a 3-evening program that we offer every month. Those are designed for the initial stages of lean startup. So think of it like Lean 1.0, finding product market fit, really validating who cares, why do they care, and how much do they care. So something like Launch is more Lean 2.0, for once you found product market fit, what are the skills that you need to scale it? Because your first 10 customers are very different from your first 10,000, and you need a different skill set for that. So that's for Launch. And then Lean Transfer is basically taking research out of labs at UC Berkeley, Berkeley Labs, NASA, and then putting a team of grad students around that over the course of a semester and really finding out if there's any there in terms of commercial potential.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. So then why are these programs important for undergrads or students?
Yeah, they're super important because they're fundamental. They're just fundamental skills that are going to make you a better scientist. They'll help make you successful as an entrepreneur, or even if you want to go into consulting or do something else. A lot of programs focus on the sexy stuff like getting investment or getting fancy mentors, but it really, you've got to focus on the fundamentals, and that's the most important investment you can make as an undergrad or grad student.
That's such great advice. So there are many things that entrepreneurs need to consider before they start their own company. And it's probably different for, tech and biotech. So what kind of things are needed to be considered before starting your own company, especially in the STEM field?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's really that focusing on solving a problem versus building a product. So instead of thinking about you want to be the next Elon or the next Zuckerberg, think about what problem you can solve for your customers versus what really awesome product or technology that you can make. I started my first company with one of my professors as an undergrad. And that's the one thing that I found. Even the best technology doesn't always mean it's going to be a success commercially. You really have to focus on solving a pain point, a problem for someone. And I had no intention of being an entrepreneur, but I was really good at solving problems and I love solving problems. So that's why I get really excited about entrepreneurship and help kind of opening up that definition.
That's great. So then what do entrepreneurs need to be prepared for to be able to be successful in this current?
Yeah, so they really need to be prepared for, even when you have the best technology, even when you're all over the news, even when there's a lot of excitement about what you're doing, it doesn't mean that people want to pay for it. One of the examples I used from I-Corps in my teaching was from the Berkeley seismological labs. So everybody in Berkeley knows we take earthquakes very seriously. We had a team, a faculty team and a PhD student who developed an app to predict earthquakes. And they had 250,000 downloads all over the world. They were on all of the news shows. They were very excited to do I-Corps because they thought, we're just going to do 7 weeks of I-Corps, and then we're just going to, let the money rain down. Well, it turned out when they started validating with their customers, people cared about earthquakes, but not enough to pay for an app. So they had to find a small set of customers who cared enough to pay for it. Fast forward, they found a group of insurance modelers that were desperate for the kind of information that they were collecting on their app. So that became their first customer, and they built out their business from there. 2 years later, they were acquired by Google. So yeah, so sometimes the path to success is not linear. You really have to be prepared to get a lot of rejection and a lot of digging and being wrong about your hypotheses, just like this team did, before you can eventually find success.
That's such a great story. So like this team, I think a lot of entrepreneurs are going to find themselves needing to pivot their idea or product at some point. Do you have any words of advice for those who are going through pivoting or, thinking of pivoting?
100%. So if you are pivoting, congratulations. That means you are applying the process correctly and being intellectually honest about what you're hearing from your customers. If you are not, that means that you're suffering from confirmation bias and you're continuing to hear what you want to hear, which is a recipe for disaster in startups. So be prepared to pivot, and you'll likely pivot quickly. In the over 2,000 teams I've worked with through either I-Corps or Launch or the other classes that I teach, we had never found anyone who has gone from the original idea to, oh yeah, that's exactly what people care about in the product. So yeah, be prepared to pivot. It's a good thing.
Okay, that's great advice. So I guess as a final note, is there anything you would like to say to aspiring entrepreneurships or entrepreneurs watching this video and are trying to make it in the world today?
Yeah, I would say focus on the fundamentals, really learn and apply as many skills as possible around customer discovery and building testable hypotheses. It's all the things that you do in the lab. You need to be doing them out there in the world with your customers. Don't focus initially on building an advisory board or talking to investors, or really focus on validating that you're solving an important problem for your customers.
Well, thank you. That was such great advice. And thank you, Rhonda, for joining us for this seminar series.
Thanks for having me. This is a cool series.
Thanks for checking out the EBI seminar series. If you enjoyed the series, please like this video and subscribe to the EBI YouTube channel for more content on entrepreneurship and biotech. All of our social media will also be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for watching.